Wang Rulan, a veteran of the 8th Root Army, is not a well-known figure, but his behavior has aroused our thinking about the morality of war. During the war, he once issued an order to kill all the captured Japanese soldiers. Such behavior makes people feel sad. But digging into his history and the situations he faced, we can better understand his choices. Entering the barracks for the first time, fighting bravely. Wang Rulan was not an outstanding soldier when he first entered the barracks, but he wanted to win glory for the country and worked hard for the revitalization of the motherland. He grew up in battle after battle, constantly learning how to use a gun and how to deal with enemy attacks. He also deeply felt the cruelty of war. The enemy will use various methods to hurt our soldiers. Facing an enemy with excessive superiority, they had to fight bravely, exchanging every drop of blood for an inch of land. Fighting on the battlefield is not just fighting, but a cruel state of existence. Wang Rulan and his comrades fought against death every day and had to sacrifice their lives. Their purpose is no longer personal honor or fame, but to fight for the benefit of the people of the whole country. Faced with the evil deeds of the Japanese army, Wang Rulan's heart was full of hatred. The Japanese wantonly massacred innocent people and committed countless atrocities, and they committed heinous crimes. On the battlefield, Wang Rulan and his comrades worked hard to make up for our army's war disadvantages. They stood firm in close combat, and knocked down many Japanese soldiers with one punch and one leg, tenaciously resisting to death. Through these arduous battles, they won many victories and captured many prisoners. To face the captive, another difficulty arises, restraining deep hatred. In war, the treatment of prisoners is an important tactical and strategic issue. According to the usual practice, our side should let the Japanese soldiers become prisoners, and then escort them home according to the regulations. However, Wang Rulan chose another way. Facing those evil Japanese, his heart is full of deep hatred. All comrades in arms and family members were devastated by the Japanese army during the war. They failed to survive the war and died under the bayonets of Japanese soldiers. Wang Rulan deeply knows that these criminals take the lives of innocent people as pleasure, and when they become captives, they are still treated generously. This choice will cause more pain. So when he faced the captives, he gave the order to kill them all with bayonets. This decision was so cruel that it surprised all the comrades in arms. But Wang Rulan believes that these Japanese are not only criminals, they are also murderers who killed his comrades and family members. He chose to turn hatred into action and make those criminals pay for their crimes. This action not only shocked the outside world, but also affected the situation within the team. The army leaders found Wang Rulan for education. They believed that war needs to be calm and rational, not based on personal hatred. Wang Rulan also changed his behavior later, and no longer treated the captives in cruel ways. He became a very good regiment commander and played an important role in the war. Thoughts on war. Wang Rulan's behavior has aroused people's thinking about the morality of war. The cruelty of war is an indisputable fact, but when facing the enemy, should we remain rational and calm, and not act based on personal hatred? In war, the enemy is often not just a group of simple soldiers, they may also have political and ideological forces behind them. Therefore, we cannot simply regard the enemy as a single individual and treat them in general. On the issue of treating prisoners, we should abide by international law and humanitarian principles, and should not let personal hatred affect our decision-making. Of course, war is not only a calm calculation and decision-making, but also contains countless emotions and feelings. In Wang Rulan's case, his hatred may be understandable, but it is still immoral to act on it. We should try to combine emotion and reason, and use rational thinking to deal with the failures caused by emotional induction. Looking back at history, we can see that many wars were started because of personal hatred. This sentiment is often very damaging to the whole discipline of war, and even leads to the injustice of war. Therefore, in the face of war, we should remain rational and calm, and not let our personal emotions and hatred control our actions. In modern society, peace and stability are the direction we strive for. We need to leave war in the past and replace it with peace and cooperation. Only in this way can we make our world a better place. We told them to shower early before it was too late and there would be no hot water. At about 9 o'clock in the evening, we went to see them and asked if they had taken a bath. They led us to the bathroom and said with a blank face, "We don't know where the water comes from. People there have never used tap water, never seen a tap." Author, Fang Fang. We told them to shower early. Many things affect my writing. Fragments of real life strike every day. After a long time, they slowly accumulated in my heart, and they quietly changed my value orientation and my writing attitude without knowing it. One year, I went to Shenemjia with 2 colleagues to shoot a documentary. Because we were going to live in no man's land, we brought tents, cooking utensils, and camera tripods and other equipment. Because there are too many things, we have to climb the mountain every day, so we specially invited 3 farmers from Shenemjia to help us carry things. One day we took them to the town and checked into a hotel in the town. We told them to shower early before it was too late and there would be no hot water. At about 9 o'clock in the evening, we went to see them and asked if they had taken a bath. They led us to the bathroom and said with a dazed look that we didn't know where the water was coming from. This incident surprised me very much. It was the summer of 1986. People there have never used tap water, never seen a tap. After many days in the mountains, I chatted with them, and heard that their relatives died of hunger, died of lack of money for medical treatment, lost their way into the mountains and died, and so on. Their calmness and calmness towards death, as well as their indifference and calmness towards the world, all had a great impact on my heart. That is to say, they are as familiar with the plants, trees, birds, insects, and fish in the mountains as if they were their own family members. They may be ignorant of the grand world, but they know the small things in nature well. Suddenly, I realized that there are many people in the world who have completely different perceptions of the world and attitudes towards life. Everyone lives in their own way. They may never hear the buzzwords of their contemporaries, but they also have a whole world of their own. Another year, I went to southern Hunan to make a documentary about Nushu, a kind of writing written by women. This kind of writing can only be recognized by local women, and they write this writing into a book, telling their inner anguish and sadness. It was winter, and we found the only 2 heirs of Nushu at that time, 2 very old ladies. Because of the cold weather, the 2 of them sat on the bed clinging to each other. When they heard that we were going to interview, they asked us to go out for a while, and they wanted to pick themselves up. When they came out again, we saw them wearing lace clothes, their hair combed brightly, and silver jewelry on their wrists. There was a light on their faces, completely different from the 2 old ladies I had seen sitting on the bed with sad faces, leaning on each other for warmth. At that time, I thought that even if it is a wildflower that no one knows in the deep mountains, when there is sunshine, it will work hard and bloom itself wholeheartedly. I have seen the lives of many people and seen countless ways of living. As a writer, what I need to pay attention to is the life of each individual, their love and hatred or life and death. Pay attention to the way they exist in the world, and the way they experience the world. Therefore, I understand that Chinese literature, or the novels I love, can take care of people's hearts. The most essential thing of realistic novels is exactly this. Many things require chasing winners. Only recognize the results. Politics depends on results, war depends on results, sports depends on results, and history depends on results. History usually leaves the pen and ink to the winners. Their focus is on heroes and great men. Almost all views of history hold such value judgments. But literature is not, especially fiction. The novel will give up the opportunity to rush to the forefront. It doesn't need to be first, doesn't mind winning or losing, or even wins at all. In life, some people's behavioral aura will lose points as soon as he speaks, and even his movements and facial expressions give people a feeling of not being arrogant. They give off a cringe, cowardly pauperism. If a person exposes this kind of aura to others, his life is basically over. Some people don't even need to talk, and he feels like a kind of rubbish standing up. Some poor ghosts care about trivial matters, but they are still reaped when faced with major life events. There are too many smart people, especially those couples who can go to heaven, and their annual income does not exceed 80,000. There are too many people like this. Never give the poor ghosts who are greedy for cheap the opportunity to learn for free. That is you wasting your life playing with. Whether you are doing dobayo, business, or self-media, Some people always consult here and there, ask this and that, and then disappear after asking a lot kind of brain power. These people just learn from you for free, to waste your life, and then learn to go to others to take the order, so when facing such people, don't say more nonsense. If you are a veteran in the workplace, a veteran in shopping malls, and a wise boss, you should know what kind of customer you meet at a glance. Some people should not talk nonsense with him, and do not have any emotional influence on him. Not everyone can come together. As for those poor ghosts who have to produce quality inspection reports, certificates of conformity, and health permits even to buy a package of instant noodles, don't get involved with the fate of these poor ghosts in the future, and let these wastes go far and wide. Far. Another thing is to stay away from those rotten, poor, and abducted people. Talking nonsense to them is a waste of life. When a person interacts with others, he always wants to take advantage of others. When he goes shopping, he always haggles over the price. He talks about the price once, then he talks a second time, and he talks a second time, and then a third time. I took a shovel and wanted toilet paper. This is the same as those who have worked so hard to borrow money to show off, and bought a Mercedes-Benz just to pretend to be aggressive, but they are reluctant to refuel and drive. What differences are there? Stay away from these master slaves. Anyone who has a successful big boss will make a decision directly on the matter he sees in his sights. And those poor ghosts are always sour, chirping, sneaking, chirping crookedly, making 9 turns and 18 turns, and still can't make up their minds after 18 turns. If you can't make a decision to deal with such a person, you will basically lose your life. In the workplace, business operators should also stay away from such people. Such people usually do trivial things, but can't do big things, and they make too many mistakes, and they are easy to make mistakes. In the end, something goes wrong. And wipe his ass. You should also stay away from those who are in love and emotionally, who are hesitant, unable to make up their minds, unable to afford to be hurt, unable to let go, and worry about gains and losses. Such people are potential neuropathy, and there are more and more neurotic people now. There are at least 20 potential mental patients in every 100 people. Especially when some people reach middle age, they become neurotic middle-aged women and neurotic middle-aged women and men. How can there be such a perfect thing in this world, the best of both worlds? There are at most 2 key points in many things, and all of them are people who want to engage in both key points. Such people are basically crazy and can't get things done. They can't tell the main contradiction from the secondary contradiction. Such a woman doesn't know how to dress up all day long, and can't make up her mind about what to eat and where. She watches what those mentally handicapped internet celebrities are doing all day long, and he wants to do what she wants. What kind of ritual sense is needed all day? What's the use of engaging in the ritual sense of those poor people? Such a woman, please men, stay away. Stay away from these boring women as soon as possible, otherwise you will not only be mentally drained, but also have worse luck, because such people have no brains at all. Just think about an adult who can't even find out what kind of style he is, and is not sure. After that, when you get married and start a business, can you educate your children to stay calm when encountering problems? Their mentality and outlook on life are cheap. They are a walking replicant. Or a duplicate skin. Their stupid behaviors will reproduce more stupid behaviors in daily life and work. Straightforward stupid behavior is full of their life. It's like they went shopping, talked, and finally engaged in 18 laps with the same theme. Can it be cheaper? UTNND are not some kind of anchor to bring you a 50-cent spicy stick. Are you still asking the boss to make it cheaper? They have been cheap all their lives. They have been greedy for cheap all their lives, and with their IQ, they will never take advantage of it. People who have no value bargain with others all day long. Why? There is no plan in life, time is worthless, life is worthless, and he also feels that other people are like him, life and time are worthless. So don't let your life be occupied by these cheap people. A person travels to sign up for a cheap tour group, he even signs up for an elderly group. The cheapest food to eat, you have to talk to others about greedy and haggling about the price when you buy things. When you go to the vegetable market to buy 2 caddies of rotten cabbage, you have to bargain wildly. In fact, some of them are poisoned by feudal thinking. They always feel that they don't bargain, as if they have suffered a loss. Then they can only be a low-level woman with no basic knowledge at such a level. or a low-level old man with no knowledge. Behavior and temperament will always come first in life. This is the aura of life, the dominance of the charm of life. Often successful people, people with style, and rich people pay more attention to this person's aura, capacity, and style. Those little ghosts who are greedy for cheap will never be able to enter the elegant hall. Always be left out by good luck and fortune. Plague refers to an infectious disease that is caused by pathogens, is highly contagious and harmful, and breaks out in a specific region or globally within a short period of time. The frequent outbreaks of epidemics in history have caused serious harm and loss to human society. Among them, the most terrifying epidemic is the atmospheric plague during the Ming and Qing dynasties. This plague lasted for 51 years, covering the whole of China, and killing tens of millions of people. This rare terrifying plague in the world has attracted the attention of many writers. Plague refers to an infectious disease that is caught. How did the spread of the epidemic start? From the 1460s to the 1470s, the Black Death spread rapidly from the Mediterranean region to Europe and other places, killing 25 million people worldwide. In the early 1750s, the epidemic began to break out in China. This terrible epidemic was mainly prevalent in the Ming and Qing dynasties. During the Kangxi and Qianlong periods, the number of deaths was the highest, with a considerable number reaching tens of millions. Where did the epidemic come from? The answer in the academic circle is the plague bacteria that parasitized on mice and then transmitted to humans. Due to the backward medical and sanitation conditions at that time and the high contagiousness of the plague, the outbreak and continuation of the epidemic resulted. What impact has the epidemic had on China? The impact of this epidemic on China can be said to be very large. First, the epidemic has led to a massive reduction in China's population. The sinking productivity and economic development have also been hit hard. During this time, harvests in North China were minimal, and the textile and other industries came to a standstill. Despite the efforts of Emperor Qianlong and other government officials to tighten the containment of the outbreak, these measures proved ineffective due to the contagion's ferocity, resulting in a sustained outbreak across China. Secondly, the epidemic has also attracted the intense attention of Chinese writers. Writers have created works describing the epidemic to express their sympathy for the unfortunate experience of the people and their deep understanding of the epidemic. How do literary works describe the epidemic? Most of the literary works during the epidemic reflect the culture, religion, and folklore of the society. From these literary works, we can clearly see how much hardship and pain the epidemic has brought to China. Some historians believe that these literary works largely reflect the real-life impact of the epidemic, especially the psychological impact. For example, the enormous psychological burden of those who survived the epidemic can be seen in many works of literature. As a classic literary work, A Dream of Red Mansions describes a huge family that has suffered many ruthless fates. The book describes a rumor about death, which implies people's fear caused by the epidemic. Many works of literature, like A Dream of Red Mansions, show how, during the plague, writers not only recorded their own experiences, but also used them to describe the impact of this unfortunate period on Chinese society. It is not difficult to see the pain and confusion felt by the literature about the cultural, political, and economic changes brought about by the epidemic. These works recorded the sufferings of the Chinese people, and at the same time opened the starting point of literature in the new era. Today, although the plague is mostly exaggerated by medical science, its impact on history and society cannot be forgotten. Sad. When facing the epidemic, it is human nature to face it bravely, strengthen self-protection, and face every challenge bravely. On our way now and in the future, we must be fully prepared for this to protect our homeland when the plague strikes again, which may be our best contribution. Huangmei faces the Yangtze River in the south and the Dabi Mountains in the north, standing at the head of Wu and the tail of Chu. Jingchu culture and Wu culture blend together here, forming a unique phenomenon of Huangmei culture with Wu style and Chu charm. Huangmei faces the Yangtze River. Wu Diou and Chu Wei is a regional concept, which is the junction of Wu state and Chu state in ancient times. Ci Hai explains the head of Wu and the tail of Chu as the northern part of Jiangxi province today, which was the border between Wu and Chu in the spring and autumn period. Chinese dictionary refers to the area around ancient Yuzhang, now Jiangxi province, as the head of Wu and the tail of Chu. According to Yugong, the whole country was divided into Kyushu at that time, Xia, Shang, and Western Zhou, and Huangmei belonged to Yangzhou. In the Eastern Zhou dynasty and the early spring and autumn period, it belonged to Chu. During the Warring States period, they belonged to Yu and Chu respectively. Huangmei belonged to Zhejiang County in ancient times, and the history of Zhejiang's organizational system is said. Xia and Shang dynasties, Zhejiang belonged to Jingzhou and Yangzhou. In the spring and autumn period, they belonged to Wu State and Chu State respectively, and they were known as Wu Head and Chu Tail. Fan Yushenglan also said, the land of Yuzhang is the end of Chu and Wudu. Huangmei lives in the land at the end of Chu and Huang, controls the upper reaches of Jinling, stands in Qinhuan in the east, and is far away from Sunyang in the south. It is actually the area where Wu and Chu meet. It is also the land of Jinjiang's throat. Huangmei, Kekun, Lushan, and Yingshan in eastern Hubei border on Anhui, Jiangxi and other provinces, and across the river from Ezhu, Huangqi, Zhejiang and other cities. For example, Kekun County Chronicles stated, Kekun is located at the head of Wu and the end of Chu, where Jingyang meets, controls the Yangtze River, and has convenient transportation. It has been valued by those in power in the past dynasties. The website of Yingshan County introduces it as known as the Jingyang Avenue, the throat of Wu and Chu, the fortress of the Zhanghuai River, and the thoroughfare of Anhui and Hubei. Huangmei County is located at the junction of Wu and Chu, which originated from the spring and autumn period. According to the chronology of major events in the spring and autumn period, the Great River comes from the west and flows into the border of Susan County, Anqing, Jiangnan. Therefore, during the spring and autumn period, the power of the Chu state had reached the area of Susan County in present-day Anhui province. According to today's geographical coordinates, the junction of Wu is our eastern Hubei region. Because Kekun and Huangmei counties border on Susan County in Anhui. According to historical records such as the three biographies of the spring and autumn period, Zhou Xuan, Gongyang, and Guliang Xuan, historical records, and the Qing Chunkai major event table Wuchu Bingbing table number 33 and other historical records, there were actually 31 wars between Wu and Chu. Therefore, it can be said that the border between Wu and Chu has always been crisscrossed due to the seesaw wars for hundreds of years. Therefore, it can also be said that the term Wudu and Chulei is not an exaggeration to be used in various places along the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River. Huangmei occupies the head of Wu and the tail of Chu, and the history of the establishment of the system proves that Huangmei once belonged to Wu or Chu respectively. For example, in the first year of Emperor Jiaozu of the Han Dynasty, 206 BC, Xiang Yu, the overlord of Western Chu, named Yingbu king of Zhejiang, and Huangmei belonged to the Zhejiang state of Western Chu. During Emperor Shun of the Eastern Han Dynasty, Huangmei County belonged to Luoyang County, Yangzhou. In the 13th year of Jianan, Sun Quan of Wu State divided Jiangxia County into Kekun County, led Sunyang to Jingzhou, and Lu Meng was the order of Sunyang. In the second year of Wei Huang Shu, 221, Sun Quan changed Hubei to Fujian County, and led Sunyang to Jingzhou. In the third year of Wu Huang Guiyue, 225, it belonged to Kekun County, Yangzhou, Wu. In the second year of Taikang, it was also attached to Luoyang County, Yangzhou. In the first year of Yongxin, Sunyang on the Luoyang River and Chaizang on the Fujian County were established as Sunyang County, and Huangmei County was divided into north and south. The ancient Wudu and Chulei area was in the transitional zone of cultural exchanges between the north and the south, and it was a big stage for the contest between Wu and Chu and the rise and fall of Chu, Wu, and Yu. From BC, King Wen of Chu defeated Cai, King Cheng of Chu defeated Huang and destroyed Ying, King Yu of Chu destroyed Zhang and Lu Liao. Chu Chuan destroyed Chu, made an alliance with Wu Yu, and designated the land of Kunchu as the eastern border of Chu, so as to change Wu head into Chu tail. King Chikang led his water army to attack Wu, but returned without success. The king of Chu killed Wu Shi and his eldest son Wu Shang, and his second son Wu Zixi fled to Wu. King Wu sent Prince Fuke to attack Chu, and King Fuke of Wu defeated Yu King Gujian after Helu. 10 years later, Gujian sent troops to attack Gusu, the capital of Wu, and Wu also perished. Some people call it the Wu Hook and Chu sword for its iron horse and golden weapon. State and other verses are even more popular, and it is the awe-inspiring spirit that people appreciate. Duanyao Street, Huangmei County, is home to 3 provinces, and Xiaoqikao is jointly operated by 2 provinces. The special geographical environment has given birth to the Wufen, Chiwun, and Se resonance here. According to Huangmei County Chronicles, in the first year of Jin Yongxin, 304, Suniang County was established, and the governance of Suniang County was moved to the south of the Yangtze River. At the beginning of Hongguo period in the Ming Dynasty, it was defined that the east and west ports were the boundary. The south of the port to the Yangtze River was under the jurisdiction of Dihua County in Jiangxi Province, and the east of the port except Duankil was under the jurisdiction of Huangmei. In the second year of Wanli in the Ming Dynasty, after surveys in Huangmei and Dihua counties, Xiaoqikao was bounded by Wengao, Hangzhou, and Xiaoqikao City was established in Dihua County to the west, and became the first of the 7 cities and 13 townships in Dihua County. Qingzhong Town was set up in Huangmei County to the east, forming a situation of common market in one street and one street across 2 provinces. Although the boundary between Wu and Chu has been drawn here, there is no steel for the separation of Wu and Chu. For thousands of years, they have communicated with each other. The Huangmei dialect is deeply influenced by the Wu dialect, and is divided by linguists into Huangxiao, the Zhonghuai Mandarin dialect. There are various dialects in modern Chinese, and they are distributed in a wide area. According to the different characteristics of Chinese dialects, linguists divide Chinese into 7 major dialect regions, and Huangmei dialect is classified as Huangxiao, part of Zhonghuai official dialect. Zhonghuai Mandarin, formerly known as Shijiang Mandarin and Shijiang dialect. It is a subdialect of the Northern dialect, one of the 7 major dialects of Chinese. The basis of division is mainly geographical and linguistic origin. Because they are relatively close geographically, vocabulary and grammar are more homologous. In particular, the origin and similarity between Yu opera and Huangmei opera further prove the homology of dialects. In our current context, going up the river is Chu, and going down the river is Wu. Located between the head of Wu and the tail of Chu, Qiwang and Huangzhou have always enjoyed the reputation of only Chu has talent, and are deeply influenced by Chu's talents spread eastward. A total of 944 Jinji and 3,985 Juren were born in Qiwang and Huangzhou. Taking the Ming Dynasty as an example, there were 317 Jinji candidates and 1,465 candidates. According to historical records, Huangmei County has produced more than 90 Jinji in the past dynasties, especially in the Qing Dynasty, with a total of 28, including 25 liberal arts Jinji and 3 martial arts Jinji. The reputation of Chu talents spreading eastward is not forgotten for generations of virtuous heroes. Wang Jingfen, the Shangshu of the Ming Dynasty, was strict in dealing with wealth. Chen Ying, the commander-in-chief of the Qing Dynasty, strictly enforced the law. Chu Jozi and Fen Wenbing are considered literary giants. Tan Yongtong and Mei Gongbin are both talents. Song Mingkaiu, Huang Litong, Shi Wei, Shi Wenlian, Shui Chenying, Zhang Yong, Shui Chengan, Yu Pu, Shi Shanhu, Yu Yuanzhang, Wu Wenlin, Shui Yuwengzai, Zhang Kulo, Deng Zongheng, Wan Lejun, Yu Shuki, Chen Daiu, Zhang Liangzhang, Mei Yushan, Hong Chia, Shi Zhenjun, Tang Lin, Xin Xiang, Zhang Ruqian, Yu Shudhang, Jian Hongxuan, Zhang Ming, Wu Zilong, etc. are all Jinji and younger brothers, and they are listed on the imperial list. Living in the borderland of Wu and Chu, Wu Fen and Chu Yun are particularly popular. Many literati and poets have left praises for Wu Diou and Chu Tai. For example, Bai Juyi, what is the hope of the hometown? The Chu River and the Wu Mountain are thousands of miles away. Izu, a poet in the Northern Song Dynasty, don't rely on the carvings to cherish the past. The Wu Mountain and the Chu River are vertical and horizontal. Lai Cha Shui and Lushan, proud of Tang poetry and Jing calligraphy. For example, when Sushi came to Huangzhou, he once left a good sentence, children in the leap, full of Chu language and Wu songs. May our Wu Feng Chu Yun talk about Huang may be deeply impressed by readers.